Okay, so I've never really done any kind of unboxing video, but if you've listened to the show or you've watched me on Retro Cavalcade with Allison and Andrew, there's something I've really been anticipating, and that would be Mezco Toys Batman '89 collection that just came out. They've had the Batmobile, Joker, Goon, and Batman. So it has, as some of you may know, been a little bit of an uphill battle for me as I've had my issues with Mezco and how they've handled this particular offering, but uh, it finally arrived yesterday. I haven't opened it yet, so I think we'll go ahead and take a look at it now. I will say I do appreciate how they tape it up, and I do think it's pretty cool. They got their own branding with their little ant guy on the tape. So, all right. Okay. Let's take a look. Okay. So right on top, we got our man Bob. Well, it says Joker Goon, of course. But we all know it's Bob, and you could swap it out for it to be the swordsman that features in the film. We'll set that right over there. Got the Joker. We'll go through these individually here in a minute after I get it unpacked. We got our Batman right here. And holy guacamole. One hell of a Batmobile. So, let's get this out of here. OCD. Okay, so first things first, just based on the look of it, I really dig how they recreated that Toy Biz look. That is pretty sharp. Um, God, these stood out to me so much as a kid. They just that that gold with the purple and that Batman across the top. And it looked great then, and I do think they did a really great job recreating this. Do I want to open this? Yes, I want to open this. Let's be real about it. So I'm going to open the figures right now, but I do want to get a look at this Batmobile. The box is awesome. I will say this as somebody who has previously found or come across um, Toy Biz Batman stuff in the wild or has been gifted it. The cardboard back then very flimsy. This is very, very sturdy. I will give it that. Okay, pretty neat. There are instructions right here. Very cool. Let's see, I'm assuming. Oh, wait. Okay, okay. Oh, the sucker's on there. Oh, hey, oh. Okay, so it was packed with the old armadillo shell that none of those survived back in the day. Okay. Almost don't want to unwrap it. It's hefty. Now, I never owned the Batmobile as a kid, but I do feel like this is a little bit bigger than the OG. I wish I had one for comparison, but too much other shit that I'm buying. And I have a 6 to 7-year-old who gets toys. That's pretty cool. This is really a great look. Okay. I know the old one had just an open air. Oh, a two-seater. We love that. And the canopy moves. That's very cool. I dig that. It's like these can be flipped up for the guns. Because, yes, Batman had guns in that movie. Very cool. And then there is a blast effect that you can put on the rear turbine. That's rad. Very cool looking. Definitely dig it. Gonna be a nerd and put it back in the bag for now and pack her back up just because I'm not really displaying. I gotta buy some shelves. I need to do a toy room tour so some of you can see what I'm working with and maybe give some suggestions. I know on the He-Man side back here, I've been talking to Shauna, my beloved, to get some floating shelves and then move some of my He-Man, some ASMR, move some of my He-Man ephemera and bric-a-brac like storybooks and my clock and radio and have like little displays along here in the background, kind of like how I have Castle Grayskull blueprints and can't see it, but cake pan hanging right there. So we can get this packed back up. Very cool. Very cool. It's like the coolest thing in Europe. Okay. I do like this. I think they did a pretty damn good job. And I do like how they packed it. This is a nice shell they have for it. I like that. I like that. The plastic for the packing is not as flimsy. They're off camera over here. The Loyal Subjects mask. Wasn't about to do a video on those. That the figures and vehicles are recreated from '85 right down to the anxiety from the sticker sheets. But one thing I noticed, as much as I love the box art on them, the cardboard's very flimsy, which is a little bit of a pain in the ass, especially if you're a mint and box collector, I would imagine. But not only that, like what they're packed in, the plastic inside, kind of a little bit of a pain in the ass. I mean, nothing to retro blast about. But okay, it does look great. I mean, I do like that they took the time to like kind of recreate the fonts and the graphics. As somebody who did study some graphic design for his degree, I always appreciate those kind of details. So we're gonna pop that right over here. Now the figures. I love the packaging. We're gonna start with Bob. I'm not gonna open them right now because I want to figure something out. Because one thing that disappoints me a little bit, I mean, because you're gonna want to display these, and maybe they said as much um, in the solicitations, or people who have previously bought 5 points style figures already knew this. I'm new to this. I've never gotten Mezco. This is my first outing with them. I'm a little sour about it, and I'm about to tell you why. But um, it is a little disappointing that these aren't like the way Motu figures are packaged, where you can slide out the card and it's more or less like a reusable blister bubble. That would have been nice, but I'm sure what could easily be done is just like an X-Acto knife, slide it out, and you can keep the card in good shape. Because I mean, this is really cool card art. I mean, especially when you look back at some of the Toy Biz ones, uh, it didn't always look like the greatest. So these are pretty cool looking, and plus, just the back of it, recreating that lineup and the water tower in the background. Those little things go a long way with people like me. Um, I do like that you have the option that you can swap it out and make it a different character. You can make the swordsman. So I don't know. I'm half tempted to get another one. I again, this is on me. I had hoped they'd be a little taller, but I didn't know. They still look great, and honestly, for how small they are, when you compare them to the original Toy Biz figures, they look incredible. Um, for being in a smaller scale than those, and they're still going to look really good with my Batman '89 stuff. When I put that together, I love that they gave you two different heads. And he has the mega horn, or megaphone rather, simply because I'm an idiot that fixates on insane lines in movies that just stand out to me. And one of my favorite parts is when he blows up Ace Chemical. And then here comes the Joker copter, and whoa, Junior Birdman, miss me. I love that part. I have no idea why, but I do. It's probably because it's Jack Nicholson being a crazy person. Last and certainly not least, we have a very Keaton looking Batman with some great accessories. I know it's not practical, but damn, wouldn't it have been cool if they recreated that retractable belt? That would have been a lot of fun. All in all, I really like these. They look great. They soften my attitude a little bit towards Mezco because I do have a massive beef with them, and admittedly, some of that I'm going to fidget with this. Some of that stems from the fact that I used to work in sales. I spent about 8 years in automotive sales, and some of that included working on Service Drive as a service advisor. Where I mostly hung my hat was being a car salesman himself, but I was also a sales manager, a used car manager. I did some finance, and then for a year before I started doing what I do now, what I've done for almost the last 6 years, being a FedEx guy, I was a banker, a professional banker for a year, and focused on sales and what have you. One of the and I'll say another factor that figures into this is I was a communications major at Bradley with a focus in public relations, and that also meant taking some advertising and marketing classes. I'm very critical when it comes to communication and when it comes to how people effectively communicate and how companies communicate. Um, a borderline nightmare for me was one of my first like a real job that's 40 hours a week and has insurance and benefits out of college was actually working for the McDonald's 1-800 number. It was based that account was in Peoria, Illinois. I believe it still is. But yeah, if you were happy with how somebody did, or you were pissed off that you asked for no pickles and you got pickles anyways, call that phone number on the cup. You usually end up talking to me or somebody like me. It always drove me crazy that for a multi-billion-dollar global company, if there was some sort of massive rumor or news story, I felt like it took them days to come up with any kind of answer for relatively small things. And we would have to sit there for, let's say something happened over the weekend. I mean, it was a 24-hour, 7 days a week account. Let's say something happened on a Sunday, like a news story broke. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we wouldn't get an answer on how to deal with it. Then finally, maybe Thursday and Friday, we'd get one, and we'd get phone calls all week. So when a company does a poor job communicating to a consumer, I don't like it. And in this case, and I will say, Allison, my friend Allison Troy from Retro Toy Princess, Andrew from Gady's Toys, and Quip from GDL all warned me to temper my expectations when it comes to Mezco, specifically as it concerns Batman '89. Because apparently, I believe it was the 1/12 figure they did a couple years back or so. That was a shipping nightmare, from what I understand. It's before I started this is before we had a house and I could build a toy room and I could actually appreciate toys and start building collections and rebuilding and unpacking stuff. So, long and the short of it, originally, at least on Big Bad Toy Store and their website, they said these would ship between April and October. Big window, no big deal. Well, October comes and goes. And bear in mind, I'm pretty certain these were solicited in 2024, We hadn't been living in this house very long. And about the end of October, I didn't order these. Shauna ordered these for me as a surprise. So she starts getting antsy, like, where's this figure set? And she emails them, doesn't hear anything for close to 2 weeks, then finally gets an email. And who knows, maybe they're getting flooded with emails. Benefit of the doubt here. She got some boilerplate response. Again, having worked in customer service and sales and having worked at McDonald's, okay, 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 no big deal. Eventually, I think they changed the street date up a little bit. No, I'm sorry, I take that back. They didn't announce anything, so we sat there and we waited, we waited, we waited. She checked again in December, nothing. The only responses you would get wouldn't answer the question you asked. It was just boilerplate. So an email was cooked up like, well, if anybody emails this, just send this, which I think is piss poor. Then January comes, and we get an email regarding they and it more or less this is what it is, something of a tax. What it was concerning tariffs. Now, yes, we all know and we knew these tariffs were coming. Um, Commander in Chief made no secrets about it. It was part of his campaign. So we knew when they started being tacked on, none of us were terribly surprised. But it is frustrating that you're charged for these up front, unless you went through like a big bad toy store. We went directly through Mezco. You're charged up front. You're waiting until the last minute to enforce a tariff on something that was paid for well before the election, well before the tariffs. And you're not giving any kind of heads up through the entire production of it. You're not saying, hey, due to this, we are going to have to do this. So you're going to have a price change. And here's the deal. The price change wasn't even that bad. It's not the price change. Again, it's the communication. Because it came with a shipping notice, or it came with the announcement, oh, they'll be shipping soon. It was like the beginning of January. It's like a month later, I just got it. And meanwhile, I've watched so many other people post it. Um, a joke between Quip and I was he was going to turn around and go to Big Bag Toy Store, where this entire bundle is still available, at least at the time of recording this, and order it, ship it, and see if he got his first. He didn't do that, obviously, but that is a little frustrating. So my indictment of Mezco is this: your communication sucks. And you are a toy company that's been around for quite a while, at least since the early 2000s, because I can remember you guys making insane Clown Posse toys that my old roommate and current co-host Dustin really thought was cool. You've been around for a while. You've done several other licenses. Um, the fact that you can't properly articulate or communicate to a consumer or a customer base what's going on, that sucks, and it's also kind of shitty. Um, it's not the issue that there was a delay. It's not the issue there was a slight adjustment to price. These things happen. I know that from being in cars. But what I also know is if you effectively communicate it, which is the basis, especially in cars, if you effectively communicate to people what's going on, unless something goes incredibly sideways, like you quote a payment, then it jumps to $300 because of an unforeseen circumstance. As long as you are communicating with people, they are very forgiving. They are very understanding. Most people, not everybody. In this case, there was, in my opinion, there was a lot of missteps. I generally try not to be negative. Like I'll make jokes. Um, I'll have some critiques. I try not to be negative too often about toy companies and what they're doing. But I'm not gonna lie. Like how poorly they communicated, and their ham-fisted kind of answers via email, and then tacking on extra tariff money at the last minute, that's very disappointing. I've joked on the yesterday show and on Cavalcade, I'm never buying from them again. I don't know that. For example, Wave 2, and that was another thing. Like, you're soliciting Wave 2, you don't even have Wave 1 ready. But Wave 2 has Lawrence the Goon, and it has Party Man Joker, which is one of my favorite scenes. Um, and you have to wonder, like, okay, well, you're doing Flugelheim, Party Man Joker, and Flugelheim Batman with his cape out and stuff. Is a Vicky going to be that far behind? Blue dress from the scene in the Flugelheim, because we've always wanted a Vicky, a good one, a good Vicky. So we'll see. I don't want to necessarily say I'm never buying from him again. I don't want to say that because things happen. But I do think some accountability is in order. I do think it was piss poor communication. I think that's a fair assessment. It's not like some jackass said in a chat, "Oh, lame comment, dude." No, it's not a lame comment. Like, they dropped the ball on communication. So we'll see. I will say this: I'm never ordering directly from them again, because even the shipping was a nightmare. They said it was coming FedEx. You go to check the tracking code. Turns out it was UPS. That was a whole other thing that pissed my wife off. So I think moving forward, I may get other figures. I'm not pre-ordering them, and I will likely go through Big Bad Toy Store, because even though they are a big kind of highly known internet distributor of toys, they are a fairly small company by comparison. And I know either way if I'm buying them, unless I'm buying them from somebody who's selling them, like a comic book store, or say somebody is in a tight spot, like, hey, I ordered these, I gotta sell them. Either way, Mezco is going to wind up getting my money. I'd rather also see that somebody like Big Bad Toy Store gets support, just simply because I've never had a problem with them, and any customer service issue I've had, they've resolved. So we'll see. I do kind of want those other figures. I'm also sorry I'm so fidgety. Again, I've never done this. But I do think they're very cool looking. The packaging is, let's take one more look at it. The packaging really, really, really brings back, gives you that 89, 90s nostalgia. The look for each character with their card art and the way it's packed does look very cool. And I do think overall they did a very good job. So can't complain about the end result. I'm just have my issues with the road getting there. So who knows? Maybe I'll get over it. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed my little diatribe. If you haven't bought these and you are a Batman '89 fan, I highly recommend them, because these are very cool looking. And if you have a Batman '89 collection, I do think that they will blend into it rather well. They're not going to scale with the old Toy Biz toys, but they're still going to look really great. So, in the meantime, have a great weekend. Enjoy yourself. Bye bye now. Bye bye.